everyone. Today I've got The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It movie review. Ed and Lorraine Warren have another case on their hands, but will this third time make or break the franchise? So as far as the story goes, directed by Michael Chavez, who also made The Curse of La Llorona, this is based on true events like the last two Conjuring movies were, including a case that went to court where this one guy claiming to be possessed by demons committed a crime, and now the Warrens have to find out the truth before it's too late. Now, since I've seen all of the previous Conjuring movies, I was willing to give this one a chance, even though James Wan isn't the director this time around. And while he's not attached to this movie like he was the first two movies, I think the first Conjuring movie is by far my favorite of the series. And right off the bat, it did give us this sense of horror that, you know, I'm so used to seeing in these type of movies. At the same time, I feel like I got lost in the story. Now, I'm not too familiar with this case, honestly. I didn't actually know about it until I saw the first trailer. The one thing that, you know, always drew me into these types of movies was the case that the Warrens were investigating, because each one was different and they, you know, you wanted to see what it would eventually lead to. However, this next case, while intriguing, takes this movie in all kinds of directions I never quite knew what was going on half the time. And so I was a little bit disappointed in that aspect. So as far as the casting goes, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson return once again to play Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they make a pretty good couple for this third outing. And I know that the first two movies, you know, made the story focus a little bit on their family and their background as along with their careers and how these horror events affected their relationship. And I feel like it's not overdone or overshadowing anything else that's going on in this movie. I like different moments with them that show that they stand out individually, like Lorraine being a clairvoyant, and there's a really cool scene that she has with that, and Ed, you know, being equally vulnerable, because there was at one point in the movie where he was almost down for the count. Some of the other characters I feel like also stood out to me, and their actions either terrified me or made me root for their character to come out on top. I'm looking at you, John Noble. So the things that I liked about this movie was that there is, not only is this movie, you know, kind of scary to me, there is tension in places that worked, and you see that in both light and dark settings, and there didn't necessarily need to be an antagonist on screen for it to work effectively in these scenes. And like the James Wan movies, I was really impressed with the cinematography. I felt that it was, you know, fairly good, and I liked that consistency with the other two Conjuring movies. So I feel like even if it's a different director, at least there's something that could, you know, bring this whole franchise full circle. But unfortunately, the things that I didn't really like about this movie was that it is, in fact, unfortunately to say, one of the weakest in the Conjuring franchise and the weakest of the Conjuring movies. I felt like it was slow moving, and there's not much build up to a jump scare, which, you know, only happens, I feel like, quite a few times. But when it does happen, it doesn't exactly have me saying, wow, now that was impressive. And speaking of jump scares, I was half expecting them before they happened, and it could just be because I've seen so many horror movies, I kind of, you know, it's like a pattern with these things. And what took me out the most was probably the CGI. Now, that could be a slight nitpick, but, you know, whatever. But it was noticeably bad. So overall, I would say that I, you know, still kind of like this movie. even though there were things I didn't like about the movie, but I definitely prefer the first two Conjuring movies to this one. So I'm kind of on the fence about recommending it to you guys. I mean, if you like these types of movies, then maybe this will be for you. So we'll see about that. So I would give this 3 hearts on the heart rate scale. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got movie reviews, movie updates, come back every week for a Chill Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. And I will see you guys later.